Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about the PS5 Pro. Now the PS5 Pro has been in the news quite a bit recently, one with the price point seemingly to be a point of contention. A lot of people have been saying it's priced way too high, especially comparing it with the graphical performance against the regular PS5. Some people don't even notice much of a difference between a standard PS5 and PS5 Pro. And then that leads into the last thing we've talked about the PS5 Pro, and that's the scalping situation, where it turns out scalpers have purchased the PS5 Pro and it seems that they're having a hard time selling them. And it's even being reported that some of them are selling the PS5 Pro at a loss. The big reason is that the PS5 Pro is readily in stock. You can head over to Amazon right now and pick one up if you want it. I mean, if you don't believe me, I've got Amazon's store up here. You can see it shipping somewhere in the States. The PS5 Pro is readily available at $700, shipping as early as tomorrow. And if you take a look at the reviews, it's 3.5 stars with about only 5 reviews, as opposed to the standard PS5, which is 4.5 stars with over 8,000 reviews. Anyways here, Sony is reportedly saying that the price of the PS5 Pro console is not having a negative impact on sales, and the console is focused on hardcore gamers. Now, as a whole, sales of the PS5 are doing, I would say, okay. If you take a look here on the best-selling consoles of all time, and this includes handhelds, PlayStation 5 is sitting in 13th place with 65.6 million units sold, and it seems like it's going to quickly surpass the Nintendo 3DS and PSP, and probably GBA, and probably Xbox 360, and probably PS3. Now, interestingly, if that does happen, and I think it could because it's only 20 more million units than PS5 has already sold, it puts it into the 8th place overall. And if I was to remove handhelds but keep the hybrid Switch in there, it's currently in the 8th place, and that would bring it up to the 6th best-selling console of all time. So I would say it's doing pretty good. I mean, it's against the PS4, and the PS4 is still for sale in some areas. So I don't know what to say here. I think the PS5 is doing well enough. I'm just wondering what the adoption problem is for the PS5 Pro if it's not the price. However, there may be something we're thinking about here, and it may be true, it may not be true. We'll have to see when we see sales figures, but maybe there isn't a problem with sales of the PS5 Pro. Maybe it's selling absolutely fine and on track for Sony. Who knows here? Maybe Sony actually made enough of these to go around, and that's why we see them as available. Generally, when we see something as available after it's freshly released in terms of consoles, to us gamers here, we're used to that being not successful because we're used to having to fight to try to get what's new here. So maybe this is a good thing for the industry altogether, or maybe it is a problem. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you think Sony is doing fine here with the PS5 Pro and they just made a whole lot of them. Or do you think it's not selling well? And on a quick side note here, it's worth pointing out that the PS5 Pro on Amazon says 10,000 plus were bought in the last month. And if I scroll down to the PS5 Slim, it says 10,000 plus were bought in the last month. Now, they do seem similar in terms of overall sales, just according to that tiny little non-specific blip. But at the same time here, the PS5 Slim is a multi-listing. You can pick up different versions here. You can also pick up the disk drive and even more, where the PS5 Pro listing is just for the PS5. Next up, we're talking about Simple Launcher, which is an emulator front end. Now, Simple Launcher is not an emulator in itself. It works with emulators and works with ROMs to try to organize everything in one nice location. They say here, Simple Launcher is an emulator front end that makes playing retro games a breeze. And it just got a brand new update to version 0.3.5. Now, it is worth pointing out that by version 0.3.5, I really meant version 3.5.0. Anyways, here they added a tool to generate bat files for the Sega Model 3. They added a local ROM history database. They added a new way to view games in the main UI. Users can now choose between grid view and list view. They added a star button to the main window top menu, which selects all the favorites from the selected system. They improved error and exception notifications. They added PS3 image pack. They increased the font size for game file names. They added Sega Model 3 to easy mode. And they updated emulator download links in the latest version. Moving on, and we're talking about Wine. Now, Wine used to stand for Wine is not an emulator, and now it stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano. And there's a brand new version of Wine that just dropped here, development version 9.21. So with this new version, there's a whole bunch of bug fixes and improvements, with some of the main things, or the big things, being improvements to Direct Play and D3D X9. design. And with that, there are some fixes and improvements to some games here. For example, Time Shift, Call of Duty 2 modding tools, Rise of Nations, Rise of Legends 2010, as well as Saints Row 2. Next up, we're talking about the 2025 Grammys, and you may be asking me, why are you talking about Grammys? It's got nothing to do with gaming or tech or open source or emulation news or really anything like that. Well, it turns out it does actually. There's a video game category here. There's a category for best game soundtrack. Now, I'm not joking with you because here is the category. Category 72, best score soundtrack for video games and other interactive media. Award to composers for an original score created specifically for or as a companion to video games and other interactive media. And there's 5 games here that are nominated: Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, God of War: Ragnarok, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and Wizardry: Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you agree with these 5 nominees? And if you do, let me know which one you think should win. And if you don't, what game should be in here instead? In my opinion, I think God of War Ragnarok takes this one just because I really like the soundtrack to that game. Maybe I'm wrong here, maybe I'm off base, but at the same time, compared to the other games, I think God of War Ragnarok's is the best. Again, I could be wrong. Next up, we're talking about an indie game. This one is called Mayhem Brawler 2. It's just popped up on Steam. It's releasing in 2025, and there's a free demo available. This one is the successor to Mayhem Brawler. It's a beat 'em up. So Mayhem Brawler released on Steam back in 2021, and it's got a very positive review score with over 500 reviews. So I would say the review count is on the lower side, but understandable as this is an indie game. And it looks pretty interesting. They say here it's a perfect fuse of 90s arcade vibe and modern roguelite RPG mechanics in a time translation themed beat 'em up. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below if a type of game like this is up your alley. And if you've played the demo, let me know your thoughts about it. And speaking about stuff that may be up your alley, last up here, I've got a giveaway for you. You may be interested in this one. It's an indie game that releases very, very soon. And it's called Kira Kira Magical Stars. So in this game, it's a top-down shooter, and it's stylized very similar to something that could be on the Game Boy Color or possibly even Game Boy Advance. So I've got 1 Steam key to give away for this game, and to enter is simple and straightforward. Send an email to giveaway@mrsujano.com with a screenshot of this game on your wish list. And that's literally just it. And then tell me why you might be interested in this game. We'll add that to it too as well. So we've got 2 conditions here. Send an email to giveaway@mrsujano.com with this game in your wish list, and also why you're interested in this game. And that's it. And I'll pick 1 person at complete random in a short period of time. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, and go on outside, get some fresh air, and touch some grass.